A ideia de vir aqui, né, é exatamente para falar sobre projeção astral e clarividência.
The idea of coming here is to talk about astral projection and clairvoyance. I started telling that my first experiences happened when I was a child. I was 7 years old, and it was an impact in my life because this first experience had a very high level of lucidity. It means that when I left my body, when I had the out-of-body experience, it was very important due to the fact that I could see everything pretty clearly when I was out of my body, and I could check that it was really happening. I left my body, saw my brother who was asleep by my side, my parents talking, some people outside, and after returning to my body, I checked everything, because I was curious. I checked and really saw my father talking to my mother. They were both sitting on rocking chairs, neighbors were talking in front of the house, and my brother was exactly at the position. I had seen him. It was remarkable for me, so I started trying to do it every night, repeating the same ritual. Have some clothes hanging, because I slept in a hammock. There were clothes hanging on its hook. I set everything the same way, went to sleep at the same time, I lay down the same way, because I thought, if I do everything again just the same, it will work out. And this is what happened. On the next day I had this experience again. I started having it every night, but what happens is that, when you have experiences with a high level of lucidity, the last thing you want to lose is the possibility of doing it. I took notes of all experiences, afraid that someone might find out what was happening to me, because that seemed an absurd. You being able to leave, look at things and return afterwards. I gradually increased my ability to see and started discovering new things, energies, situations that confirmed for me the possible existence of a dimension different from the physical one. This happened 58 years ago. Now I am 66 years old. At least in this physical life. I kept registering everything and enjoying this knowledge. At the beginning, I had some difficulty and concern that someone might find out, but after a while I said, wow, this can really bring me a greater amplitude. I kept practicing astral projection every day. Nowadays, when I hear someone talking about astral projection, I think to myself that a person can say they have an astral projection. But having one astral projection in life, 2, 3, is one thing. But having it every day and at any time is a whole different thing. It's a very different thing. It expands your inner self. You start looking at the world with different eyes. You start seeing life in a different way. Your meaning of life is not restricted anymore. Like when you need to confirm you've had astral projections and you've already overcome that stage of life. As a result of that and a lot of research, I have been to many places you can think of. Where have I been? The Order of the Rose and Cross? Yes. UBOC? Yes. Esoteric Circle? Yes. Spiritist Center? Yes. Any place you can think of. Umbanda Center, Candomblé Center, and so on. Fraternities, Masonry, whatever you can think of. Why? I wanted an explanation for what was happening to me, and at every place I went, I obviously received a different answer. Then I thought, this won't work for me, because I was taking notes of all my experiences, which became more frequent, and it's obvious that you arrive at a point that the answer has to be yourself. And this is what I did. One day I started working with astral projection and tried to form groups of astral projection. It didn't work very well because transmitting knowledge requires that each person makes their own path. It's a path that requires a lot of dedication. The person has to decide, I'm going to do that and there's no other alternative. In this spiritual journey, when you open your mind to life and get to see things mainly from there to here, you won't surely be the same person.
Com certeza você não vai ser a mesma pessoa. Primeiro, que cada pessoa que está à tua volta,
first, because each person around you is going to mean something. You will start respecting all people. Everyone here is making a path. This path isn't the one we want them to follow. Each one of us chooses a path. In fact, we learn during the journey. That's how it is. It's not possible to teach someone about life. Each one of us comes here after many reincarnations, returns to this world having a physical body to use, and when we physically die, we forget everything. Or is there anyone here who remembers your past life with total clarity? I think it's very difficult. You need to dive into yourself and into your truth and let the others' truths be part of your life. But this is a personal journey. In our path, only us can provide the answers. We have to search with sincerity what we have been burying life after life, because we create concepts, misconceptions, beliefs and preconceived ideas all the time. We did that. I did. We all did that. Can you imagine what we thought about spirituality 100 years ago? 200 years ago? 50 years ago? If we told someone we were spiritists, they wouldn't accept it very well. Don't you agree? I didn't accept it when I was a child. When I saw a booklet of Chico Xavier on the floor of a square. I took the booklet and it was written that he received spirits. Then I thought it was unacceptable. Why would a spirit need someone else's body? And I sincerely admit that, at that moment, as a child, I said, this Chico Xavier. I don't know what he does, but for me, he is not a good person. Can you see? A child. Later on you learn, study, have experiences, and the day I met Chico Xavier for the first time, I went, because of him, to a marvelous event about astral projection, because I had the desire to do something to work with Chico Xavier. Later I understood the extension of his work and his determination to do things. Then, in bed, when I was leaving my body, that huge group of Chico's spirit guides told me, you won't work with him. Your work will only begin in a year. It was the biggest frustration one may have in life, when you think you've taken a decision. 1 year later, at the sacred ground of the World Messianic Church. Does anybody know? I was sitting on a bench. There were many trees. It's a beautiful place. My brother is now a reverend of the World Messianic Church. I was sitting there and my spirituality life began, with Chico Xavier. Exactly a year later, I checked the date. Then I got to know him and he told me, you continue here, now. I didn't understand what he meant by continue. Currently we have a center of studies in Uberaba with a lot of people involved, including his son, whom I have interviewed, met and talked, and Chico himself. Our work can't have the limits we create. We think we are the best when we do something. None of us who is here on earth will be sure, in the end, if we did the right thing, because the universe is huge. It's unmeasurable. We are limited to a small part of the knowledge on earth because we need to believe in something. That's what we need to do. Having astral projections expands our knowledge and our respect to all people around us. So when someone practices something, if this person has any spiritual practice, it's a moment to practice and also help a lot of people. That's how I see it. But I also see that I'm not wise all the time and don't have the knowledge of everything. I am also part of this group. My journey is long too, and the journey is endless. The journey we have here is to learn and become much better than we were before. This is certain. I have had countless astral projections, until the moment I realized I was only having them.
Vi que eu estava só fazendo projeções astrais, isso há muito tempo atrás. Eu falei, eu tenho que usar isso.
A long time ago, I said, I have to use it for the good. Whoever watches my videos and follows my work knows when I was young, there was a lady called Olga Maruishi. She is not with us anymore. She was Japanese. This lady simply treated me with all the tenderness. I needed to learn. Not only her, but my mother too. Nowadays, I speak about it with less concern. I used to be afraid of mentioning names. She was remarkable in my life. She opened my mind because I saw many cures in the church and started searching how those cures happened. It was exactly there, observing someone practicing laying on of hands among many others doing the same, that I noticed why that person was so well accompanied and surrounded by lights. The lights were not only spirits, because spirits emanate light. Sometimes we say there's a spirit of light close to me. No, any spirit emanates light. They are energy, but those were really evolved spirits because we could see all their energetic work while the person was providing the assistance through laying on of hands. I saw things that amazed me. I was already practicing that and said, wow, this is making our spiritual work tangible. So, everything I am and have learned due to lucid astral projections and clairvoyance has to be transformed into something that helps people. That's what I have to do. Because on the last day of my life, I don't want to look back and feel I threw away everything I am. This is something we all need to consider. We don't have to be consciousnesses at the genital level, what we see the most in this world. Our consciousness should not stay at this level. We have to grow, evolve, mature, and improve every day. Then you will see we discover a wonderful path to relationships that we need to make.
E vocês vão ver que a gente vai descobrir que existe espaço maravilhoso de relacionamento que nós precisamos trilhar.
Would you like to participate in a work of energy giving from afar that is benefiting thousands of people? Click on the link below for more information.